Princess Lyra moved silently among the floating gardens of Zarithia, her long, silver-blue hair catching the light of the twin suns above. She had always loved this place, the smell of the alien blossoms, the soft hum of energy flowing through the city, the feeling that everything was under control. Yet today, despite the calm beauty around her, an uneasy feeling gnawed at her heart. Something far away in the depths of space was shifting. She could feel it. Her father, King Varian, had warned her many times about curiosity beyond the royal walls. "The galaxy is not kind to those who seek what they do not understand," he said, pacing in the high halls of the palace. But Lyra could not ignore it. The stars called to her, and she knew that her life was destined for something beyond Zarithia. Weeks later, during a diplomatic mission to the border systems of the Outer Rim, Lyra finally glimpsed a human, Aiden Cross. He was unlike anyone she had seen before. The human warrior moved with confidence, yet there was a quiet humility about him. When a convoy transporting vital supplies was attacked by rogue alien forces, Aiden did not hesitate. He fought with precision, protecting not only the convoy but also the weaker ships that had no chance to defend themselves. Lyra watched from the observation deck of her transport, her heart pounding as the human leapt from one ship to another, disabling enemy drones with tools she had never imagined. She could not explain it, but the moment their eyes met, even through her holographic window, she felt a pull, a strange sense of recognition that went beyond logic. That night she could not sleep. Dreams of the battle replayed in her mind, but this time, she saw herself running beside him, coordinating maneuvers as though they had trained together for years. The Zarithian archives had long spoken of rare connections between humans and their royalty. Legends told of bonded mates, a pairing that transcended species bound by destiny, loyalty, and deep emotional resonance. The signs were subtle but undeniable. Shared dreams, instinctive protection, an unexplainable sense of connection. Lyra had dismissed the stories as myth. Humans were unpredictable, fragile in ways her people were not, and yet she could not ignore the feelings stirring within her. Over the following weeks, Lyra arranged more meetings under the guise of diplomacy. Each encounter only strengthened the strange bond she felt. Aiden, unaware of the stories or their significance, treated her with respect and calm bravery. During simulations of defense drills, he instinctively anticipated her movements, reacting to threats before she even realized they were coming. Lyra began to wonder if perhaps the legends were not mere stories after all. One evening, in the quiet of her chambers, Lyra pulled an ancient artifact from the royal vaults, a small crystalline device said to reveal truth to those who were attuned to it. The crystal pulsed softly, resonating with her heartbeat. She whispered Aiden's name, and immediately a vision enveloped her. She saw him in a distant system facing a deadly enemy, his determination unwavering. At the same moment, she felt his fear, his focus, even his hope. It was not just empathy. It was something far deeper, something she could not yet name. She gasped, falling back onto the cushions. The bond was real. The human warrior was her destined partner, her bonded mate. The realization was both thrilling and terrifying. She had spent her entire life preparing to rule, to lead, and to protect her people, and now she had discovered that her destiny was intertwined with a human from a distant world, a being so different from her own kind that it defied reason. Lyra knew she could not reveal this to anyone yet. The political implications were enormous. The council might resist, her father might see it as a threat, and rival houses could use it as a weapon against her. And yet she could not ignore the bond. She felt it in every instinct, every heartbeat. She needed to find a way to reach him, to understand him, and to see if he felt the same pull she did. When Aiden received the invitation from the Zarithian Council, he had no idea that his life was about to change forever. He was a warrior by nature, trained to face danger and protect the innocent, but the elegance of Zarithia stunned him. The floating terraces, the gardens suspended in midair, and the people who seemed to glow with a quiet power. It was nothing like the battlefields he knew. He expected diplomacy to be formal, rigid, even tedious, but meeting Lyra changed that instantly. She was unlike any leader he had ever encountered. Her presence commanded attention without force, her words precise but gentle. Yet beneath her composure he sensed a curiosity, a mind that raced even when she appeared calm. When they spoke privately, discussing strategy and diplomacy, he felt a strange familiarity, a sense that he had known her all his life. He dismissed it as coincidence, but the dreams he had been having lately told another story. The first signs of the bond fully manifested during a surprise attack on their convoy. A group of rogue mercenaries had infiltrated the docking bay, intending to kidnap Lyra and leverage her status for ransom. Aiden reacted instantly, drawing his energy blade and shielding her without hesitation. Lyra's movements complemented his, her combat instincts enhanced beyond her own training. Together they moved as one, protecting the guards and civilians alike. Every time he glanced at her, he knew instinctively where she would be, what she would need, even what she was about to do. After the battle, Lyra retreated to her private chamber, her hands trembling. She activated the crystal again, seeking guidance. The vision confirmed what her instincts already knew. "He is mine," the crystal whispered, not in words but in emotion echoing through her mind. And now she had to figure out what that meant for her future. Aiden, too, was unsettled. He had faced countless dangers, yet this feeling of connection, of an unseen thread pulling him toward Lyra, was unlike anything he had known. It was subtle, a shared glance, a heartbeat racing when she was near, but undeniable. Even in moments of danger, he found himself looking for her, protecting her not because it was his duty, but because it was something he could not explain. Their next meeting was tense. Lyra approached him cautiously, testing the waters. "Do you ever feel as though someone else knows your thoughts?" she asked quietly, studying his reaction. Aiden paused, confused, but nodded. "Sometimes," he admitted. "It's like I'm connected to something, or someone. And I don't know why." Lyra's heart pounded. This was the first acknowledgement of the bond from his side. Even if he did not understand it fully, she decided to take a risk, revealing a fraction of the truth. "There are stories on my world," she said softly. "Stories of humans and Zarethian royalty, bound together in ways that surpass reason. I think you and I—" Her voice faltered as the weight of her confession hung in the air. Before she could finish, alarms blared. The rogue faction had located them again, their fleet approaching fast. Lyra and Aiden barely had time to react, leaping into the defensive station. The battle was fierce, ships clashing above the planet's orbit, energy beams cutting through the darkness. But this time, something extraordinary happened. Without words, without planning, they moved in perfect harmony. Aiden deflected a strike that would have hit Lyra, while she calculated a counterattack that saved several smaller ships. The bond pulsed between them, strengthening with each heartbeat, guiding them through the chaos. When the dust settled, the convoy was safe, but both knew that nothing would ever be the same. Lyra's discovery of the bond was no longer a secret. And though fear lingered, fear of politics, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, there was also hope. Hope that together, they could face whatever the galaxy threw at them. As night fell on Zarithia, Lyra stood at the edge of the floating gardens, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, Aiden was thinking of her, feeling her presence even if he did not fully understand it. And she, for the first time in her life, allowed herself to believe that destiny was real, that a human warrior, so different yet so connected, was meant to walk beside her, to fight with her, to share the weight of her world. The journey had only just begun, and Lyra knew that the truth, once revealed, would change everything. But for now she allowed herself a moment of peace, the knowledge that the bond had awakened, and that their story was about to unfold in ways neither of them could yet imagine. The city of Zarithia shimmered under the light of its twin suns, but beneath the beauty, tension hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. Princess Lyra paced the high terraces, her thoughts tangled between duty and destiny. The bond with Aiden Cross pulsed in her mind, strong and undeniable, yet she still felt uncertainty. How would her father react? How would the council respond? And most importantly, how would Aiden feel when he understood the full truth? The calm was shattered by an urgent alarm. The rogue alien faction had launched a full-scale assault on Zarithia, targeting the floating city's energy cores. The city's defense systems flared to life, energy shields rising as massive warships descended from the outer orbit. Lyra's pulse quickened, but this time it was not just fear, it was anticipation. She knew that Aiden would be there, and that together they could face the danger. Aiden arrived on the central landing platform moments later, his eyes scanning the skies. "They're stronger than we expected," he said, his tone calm but tense. "We need to hold the cores or the city will fall." Lyra nodded. Then we fight together. We have no other choice. She stepped closer to him and the bond flared like a spark. Instantly, she felt his focus, his courage, his determination. He felt hers too, each thought and instinct connecting them like a bridge across worlds. As the first wave of attackers descended, Lyra and Aiden moved in perfect synchronization. She directed the city's defensive drones, calculating trajectories and weak points, while Aiden engaged the enemy ships directly, his combat skills unmatched. Their movements were fluid, instinctive. They didn't speak much. They didn't need to. The bond guided them, each action complementing the other. The rogue faction unleashed a massive strike against the main energy core. Lyra's eyes widened. "Aiden, the core, it won't hold," she shouted. Without hesitation, he leapt onto the command platform interfacing with the core's emergency override systems. Lyra guided him, her knowledge of Xerithian technology combining with his human ingenuity. Sparks flew, energy arcing dangerously, but together they stabilized the core just as the enemy's strike hit. The battle raged across the city. Smaller ships and drones clashed in the skies, their energy weapons lighting the air. Lyra and Aiden fought like one entity, anticipating each other's moves. Aiden deflected an enemy blast aimed at Lyra, pushing her out of harm's way while she simultaneously hacked a control panel to disable the attacker's navigation systems. It was unlike anything Xerithia had ever witnessed. A human and a princess perfectly bonded, turning the tide of battle through instinct and trust alone. During a brief lull in the fight, Lyra found herself face to face with the leader of the rogue faction, a massive alien warrior, armored and fearsome. The creature sneered, its voice vibrating through the air. "You cannot stop us, princess. You are alone. Your human will fail you." Lyra's eyes narrowed. Alone? She glanced at Aiden, who had already anticipated her need. With a silent nod, they moved together, striking with precision. Aiden disarmed the warrior while Lyra disabled its armor systems. The creature fell, stunned and defeated. The council's soldiers watched in awe as the human and the princess fought as if their minds were one. As the battle drew on, Lyra realized that the bond had reached a new level. She could feel Aiden's intentions before he acted, his courage amplifying hers, his focus sharpening her decisions. And he felt the same. The bond had awakened fully, connecting their minds and hearts in a way that surpassed mere understanding. They were no longer two beings from separate worlds. They were a single force, unstoppable when united. Finally, the rogue faction's command ship appeared in orbit, the source of the attack. Lyra and Aiden knew that to end the assault, they had to reach it. Aiden piloted a small strike ship, while Lyra interfaced with its weapon systems, their connection allowing instantaneous coordination. They dodged enemy fire, weaving through the chaos, and approached the command ship with determination. Inside the command ship, the rogue leader awaited, confident that no one could breach its defenses. Lyra activated a resonance pulse from her crystal artifact, destabilizing the enemy's energy field. At the same moment, Aiden charged forward, cutting through security drones and disabling the ship's control nodes. Together, they reached the core, where the leader attempted one final attack. But the bond between them allowed a perfect counter. Lyra's precision and Aiden's strength combined to subdue the enemy without a single misstep. The command ship's systems went offline, and the remaining forces retreated in disarray. With the threat neutralized, Xerithia's city lights returned to their calm shimmer. Citizens and soldiers cheered, but Lyra and Aiden did not celebrate yet. They stood together, catching their breath, feeling the bond hum steadily between them. Lyra knew that this moment had changed everything. The council could no longer deny the connection. They had seen it firsthand. That evening, the council convened in the Great Hall. King Varian observed silently as Lyra stepped forward, Aiden by her side. "This human has proven his courage, loyalty, and wisdom," she began. "But more than that, he is bonded to me. We share a connection that is rare and powerful. Together we can protect our people and build a future stronger than either of us could achieve alone." Whispers filled the hall, some skeptical, some awed. The counselors debated, but the evidence was undeniable. Aiden's actions, the bond they had witnessed, and Lyra's certainty left no room for doubt. Finally, King Varian spoke, his voice resonating through the hall. "If this bond is true, then it is not only a matter of destiny, it is a matter of hope. The galaxy is changing, and perhaps humanity is meant to walk alongside Xerithia in this new era." Lyra exhaled, relief flooding her. Aiden gave her a small smile, his eyes reflecting the bond that now fully connected them. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe in the possibility of happiness. Not just duty and responsibility, but genuine partnership. Over the following weeks, Lyra and Aiden trained together, learning to blend their skills further. Humans and Xerithians began collaborating more openly, inspired by the bond between the princess and the warrior. The story of their victory spread across the stars, a tale of courage, unity, and the power of connection. One quiet evening, high above the city, Lyra and Aiden stood on the terrace, overlooking the endless skies. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the floating gardens. Lyra leaned into Aiden, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat matching her own. "Do you believe it now?" she asked softly. Aiden smiled, a rare moment of vulnerability crossing his strong features. "I do. I feel it every time I'm near you. Every time we fight, every time we plan, every time I see the stars, I feel it." Lyra took his hand, letting the bond between them strengthen in silence. "Then we face whatever comes next. Together," she said. And together, they did. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and mysteries, but Lyra and Aiden had discovered something stronger than fear or uncertainty. They had discovered trust, courage, and a bond that transcended worlds. As they looked toward the stars, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not as a princess and a warrior, but as partners, as equals, as bonded mates destined to shape the future together. The night deepened, but the lights of Xerithia burned brightly below, a symbol of hope and unity. And at the center of it all, Princess Lyra and Aiden Cross stood side by side, ready to protect their people, explore the stars, and write their story across the galaxy. Their bond was no longer a secret. It was a promise, unbreakable, eternal, and full of possibilities. The adventure had only just begun.